Hey everyone, look, I know it's a bit chaotic in markets and many of you are first cycle in crypto, and I know that you need a bit of guidance and a bit of reassurance that everything's going to be okay. Let's go through how not to fuck this up. I've got the Don't Fuck This Up t-shirt on. You can now understand again what I keep saying. If you're using leverage, you are going to get blown out and you're going to lose control of your tokens.
오늘은 리얼비전의 CEO 라울 팔이 예측하는 암호화폐 시장 전망을 들어보겠습니다. 라울 팔은 경험이 풍부한 투자자의 날카로운 시선과 함께 비트코인과 거대한 암호화폐 시장을 항상 주시하고 있는 인물이죠. 경제의 불확실성이 커지는 상황 속에서도 항상 코인의 중요성을 인식하고 있으며 경제 지표뿐 아니라 암호화폐 가격의 상승에 대해 이야기하곤 합니다.
That is rule number one. Do not lose control of your tokens. Do not use leverage. Don't FOMO and don't get fearful at the wrong points in the cycle. We are still early stage within the final year of the crypto bull market when a lot of the big gains come. It's time not to lose your shit. Have patience. See the bigger picture.
Listen, I think we've got until 2030 before the economic singularity arrives. Now, it might not be the exact date, but it's around then. So we have about 6 years to figure out how to unfuck our future.
Over time, you'll see that this kind of volatility is normal in a token at this stage, and you should be fine with all of that. So if you can, you buy the dip. And let me show you why and how. Firstly, the chart that everybody knows about. This is the chart Julian and I came up with, Global M2 in dollars with a 10-week lead over Bitcoin. Now, we were not sure whether it was going to follow this exactly because we had an identical setup in Global M2 in 2017 in the last Trump cycle. And what happened is crypto collapsed 35% in a week and then slowly recovered with CHOP. I wasn't sure whether we were going to have the full sell-off to follow this pattern or we were going to go sideways over the period. We eventually went sideways first and then had the sell-off. Either way, it's on track exactly as Global M2. What it's saying to you is that financial conditions that tightened last year due to the dollar rallying in anticipation of Trump and also rates going up in anticipation of tariffs, well, that is what's playing through now. Now, if you look at the chart going forward, that reverses. Yes, there's going to be a period of chop. We're going to be finding the lows around here. Then there's a period of chop, and then we start coming back up the other side. So it's nothing to concern yourselves with. Volatility is part of the game. Without the volatility on the downside, you don't get the 150% returns or more on the upside. So anyway, calm down, have patience, let this play out. So financial conditions are kind of the big daddy of all of this. And the 3-month and 3-month rate of change of Bitcoin is driven by financial conditions, which leads by 3 months. So financial conditions obviously tightened because of the dollar and rates back in last year. Now Bitcoin has fully priced that in. So we're at the price point that is right. Now, could it then chop around along the bottom until it starts mirroring the rally in financial conditions? Possibly. This is also obviously very similar to the Global M2 chart because they're all highly correlated. I just want to show it to you in a different way. The next chart is what you're hearing a lot of noise about is there's an economic weakness coming. Economic data's coming out weak. Yes, it is. And it's been driven by the dollar last year. Again, there is a lead here, and the dollar strength last year is causing economic weakness. This is the reason everybody wants a weaker dollar. China wants a weaker dollar so they can stimulate. They're desperate to stimulate. The world has a lot of dollar debts. They need a weaker dollar to service those debts. The US needs a weaker dollar to export goods. The global economy needs a weaker dollar. But first, we're going to see that weakening of the US economy because of what happened last year in the dollar. And then things will start to change again and the economic cycle will pick up. Now, that probably also means that rates will come lower because economic data is weaker. So that's playing into our idea that financial conditions are going to ease over time. So it's yet building a more positive case. No, it's not going to be a recession. All of that talk is nonsense. Economic data will weaken for a bit and then strengthen. But this is all good for us. Yes, tech stocks are slightly worried about weaker growth. But again, when we can look forwards, using the analysis, we can see recovery is round the corner. Now, when we look at last time around in 2017 when Trump came in, we saw a very similar thing. Economic surprises fell off a cliff because the dollar had strengthened in anticipation of Trump coming into office. That then eventually reversed and the economic cycle picked up massively and the dollar weakened hugely. And that drove what was a very large crypto and risk cycle, even though the Fed were raising rates. You see, global financial conditions are the key thing here. And that could be driven by the US, or it could be driven by China, or it could be driven by Europe. It could be any of these economic powers, or it could be all of them. So as the dollar weakens, we're already seeing that mechanisms like dollar yen are starting to move a lot more. Now, dollar yen is incredibly important because the Japanese banking system is the heart of the Eurodollar system. They're the ones who lend out dollars into the global economy, and that finds itself its backdoor into China that allows China to service its dollar debts. And if the dollar is weaker, then China can weaken its currency. It can then stimulate more aggressively. It needs to do trillions of dollars of QE to service the bankrupt real estate sector and other parts of the non-performing loan sector. So anyway, that's all to come. If we look at the dollar now versus then, very similar. Trump back then said the dollar is too strong. They've already talked about it, him and Scott Bessent. They've already talked about the long end of rates. What they want is the dollar first they will use the dollar as a bargaining tool with the Chinese, the Europeans, the Canadians, the Mexicans to get the tariffs in place. In exchange, they will give a weaker dollar. That helps everybody out. We could all then move forwards with the global economy, and the global economy should be strong. The back end of rates, which is like 10-year rates and stuff, well, that's going to help you guys too, because your mortgages will come down and borrowings for corporations will come down. And that gives everybody more money, and that stimulates economic growth. This is all to come. The ISM survey above 50 shows the economy is starting to grow. Now, economic growth has been strong, but that's been driven by the government sector. But again, Trump and Bessent have said they really want the private sector to take over. So what they're telling you is they want the ISM to go up. They want the private sector to start expanding, regular businesses. And regular businesses expanding also drive Bitcoin. So Bitcoin goes up as the ISM goes up. So this kind of rate of change of Bitcoin will give us much higher prices if the ISM gets up to its normal cycle peak of somewhere between 56 and 65. And that will give us the magnitude of the rise in Bitcoin. We don't yet have a full handle on how high the ISM will go this cycle, but if it goes above 60, I mean, those are high prices in Bitcoin. That's above 300,000, maybe even higher. I'm not predicting. What we're trying to do is give you contextualization of how the market can evolve so you can play along from home. Rising ISM will be good for your bags. And rising ISM it may still be choppy because we're still coming through. We need rates to go lower. But as that happens, we will see this pick up. Forward-looking indicators of ISM, like ISM new orders, less inventories, leads by 3 months. It's going up very sharply. Again, expect it to be choppy, but it's telling us ISM should be going up. So that's good for Bitcoin in the future. 3 months' time, Bitcoin should be much higher.
라울 8은 현재 시장이 혼란스럽게 보이지만 두려움보다는 인내와 이해가 필요한 시기라고 강조하며 현재는 사이클의 후반기이자 수익이 가장 크게 발생할 수 있는 구간의 초입이라고 얘기하고 있습니다. 전세계 통화 공급량의 흐름은 반등 구간으로 2017년 트럼프 당시와 유사한 흐름을 갖고 있으며 이는 강력한 회복 사이클이 기대된다고 합니다. 또한 작년부터 이어진 달러 강세 현상으로 인해 현재의 경제 둔화를 유발시킨 것이며 달러 약세로 전환되면 글로벌 시장에 유리한 환경을 조성, 이는 곧 암호화폐 및 리스크 자산의 강세로 이어질 가능성이 높다고 평가합니다. 우리는 객관적인 시각으로 투자를 해야 하고 지금 당장만 보고 투자할 게 아니라 미래를 보고 투자를 해야겠죠. 010-2472-0429 전화번호로 탈겜이 적어서 문자 보내주시면 2025년 비트코인과 코인 시장에 대한 분석, 정보들 공유해드리겠습니다. 현재 우리에게 중요한 것은 이러한 정보를 어떻게 활용할 것인가입니다. 지금까지 영상 시청해주셔서 감사하고요. 다음에 더 좋은 영상으로 찾아뵙겠습니다. 감사합니다.